Pituitary gland or the master gland of our body is located in the brain, right underneath the hypothalamus. So pituitary is actually two lobed-like structure, mostly the size of slightly greater than that of a pea seed, and they are hanging right down under the base of the brain, and can be said to be connected with close to the brain stem region. So we will find that this pituitary gland is actually a gland which is responsible for secretion of certain hormones from it. Along with it, it also has got a little bit of storage capacity. Now, not necessarily as like the entire secretion of the pituitary gland, it is full of trophic hormones, means the hormone responsible for regulating the function of other glands. And along with it, it also actually has a little bit of storage purpose, means where it does store the hormones secreted by hypothalamus. And pituitary having the control over other hormone, it is considered as a master gland. But then again, pituitary itself is under the control of hypothalamus, which is like associated with maintaining the homeostatic condition of the entire body. Now, if we go with the cross section of the pituitary, then the structure will be found like this. Means the anatomy is somewhat like this, where we find that the those yellow nerves that we are seeing there, this all this neuron that we're seeing there, they are actually the hypothalamus. They are entirely the hypothalamic nuclei, and they are all releasing their hormone down into this pituitary. Pituitary will be this two lobular structure that we see down here. Now this pituitary gland, we will understand the like pituitary actually gland can be divided into the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary is called the adenohypophysis, and the posterior one is called the neurohypophysis. Now, the way we will be able to understand that which one is which is by checking this optic chiasm. This optic chiasma is actually the frontal part of the brain. It actually comes from like it. The eyes are around this side. So from that direction, this optic chiasma comes and then enter into the brain. So there we find the presence of optic chiasma, like showing that which side of the brain we are talking about. So this is the frontal side, and this is the backward. That means this is anterior pituitary and this is posterior pituitary. So what we are finding here is that the glands right there, these all glands, they are all releasing the hormone down straight into the posterior pituitary. Means the hypothalamus itself is actually responsible for secretion of the hormones that are there in the posterior pituitary, whereas the anterior itself is able to produce all the hormone that it actually supposed to produce. Because here also we are going to find neurosecretory cells present, releasing all the specialized hormones, everything that is supposed to be like controlling the function of the body, and it is all there, and then from there it actually works. But then again, we can see the connection right there, isn't it? Here we find that the hypothalamic nuclei releasing the hormone into this capillary system, which is bringing it to this area, because this capillary system, this one, is what is like bringing the secretion of the hypothalamus to the anterior pituitary, because the function of the anterior pituitary is regulated by the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus is regulating the function of the anterior pituitary, which is nothing but secretion of those specific hormone. And upon getting the proper stimulation, it actually starts releasing the hormone, and then the hormone is being carried down by the venous drainage. So this is how the entire system of the pituitary, it actually function. Means one part releasing like different type of hormones, and they all are like completely controlled by the hypothalamus. Now, talking about the secretion of hormones, so we are going to find that the anterior pituitary are responsible for secretion of the thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, adrenocorticotrophic hormone or ACTH, luteinizing hormone LH, follicle stimulating hormone FSH, growth hormone GH, and prolactin. So these are the hormones which are the trophic types. Means the major means these are the one which control the function of the other like gland system, because TSH, ACTH, all these things are like TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. So it's a one which controls the thyroid function. We'll discuss about every single one of them in later slides. So they are regulating the function of the other glands, whereas the posterior pituitary, which secretes the oxytocin and the vasopressin, they are responsible for bodily functions. Means vasopressin, it actually regulates the kidney function. Oxytocin, it regulates metabolism and many other processes. So we are going to find all of them working together, and finally is responsible for uh, like release of different types of hormones, which helps the function of entire body. So, first of all, the thyroid stimulating hormone. So, as it is shown here, it is a hormone which actually controls the thyroid gland, which is present right underneath our larynx. Right, it covers the. It's like a butterfly-like structure. So, it covers the entire larynx region. Down underneath the Adam's apple, we are going to find them. Now, this structure is responsible for maintaining metabolism, like uptake of minerals and many other processes. So all of those processes, the hormones responsible for them that are being released by the thyroid stimulating hormone itself is under regulation of the uh, pituitary gland, because the moment the anterior pituitary release the TSH, then only it can produce all those hormones. So it is under complete control over the pituitary. Growth hormone, another important hormone of our body, which is released by the pituitary definitely, but again, as always, it will be under control of the hypothalamus. Now this growth hormone is responsible for growth of muscle, growth of bone, actually growth and development of the entire body part. But it works like it functions by simply going to the liver, where an insulin like growth factor or IGF is actually going to be released, which triggers the production like production of proteins, because it stimulates amino acid uptake by those cells. Means amino acid, those things that are produced by digestion of protein, being absorbed by the like our um, you can say is being absorbed by our intestine, and then all it distribute throughout the body. Those amino acids, even if those which are being stored inside any other storage places, then all those amino acid intake will actually increase in the target cells. Okay, now IGF is responsible for that, but IGF is under control of the GH hormone. Now if that happens, and amino acid uptake, it increases the protein synthesis. Then protein, if we talk about the major component of our body, like which contains a high quantity of protein, will be the muscles. So that means this process is actually triggering growth of muscles. Not only that, the IGF also induce bone formation. Means that IGF, the factor that we're talking about, which increases protein synthesis, it also has a like capacity to induce production of bones, more and more bones, denser and longer bones. Plus the adipocytes, means the fat containing cells that are present in the liver, that are present in the like visceral cavity, they are also they also being triggered to be broken down to form triglycerides, necessary for energy production and all, which will help in the process of formation of the growth of the body. Even sometimes adipocytes also are formed with the help of this. So pituitary is actually producing the growth hormone, which induces all the processes, all the biochemical processes, which will lead to production of more muscles, more bone, and the entire body will now grow. If it is present in right amount, then the person will grow normally. But if it is not present in right amount, then there are deformed growth that can be seen. Means it can be like too little growth. If there is less amount of growth hormone is being released by the pituitary, then the person is going to go short, like it will not grow at all and will remain short. And a condition known as dwarfism. Whereas if it is being produced in a very high quantity, then the person is going to grow taller, excessively taller, and the condition is known as gigantism. Not necessarily that it is a systemic process. Sometimes this entire thing happens in a localized manner also, where maybe a hand will actually grow either like bigger, maybe few of the fingers will grow slightly bigger than the rest because somehow the growth hormone has induced that. So those things can also be seen. Talking about uh, pituitary's another function, it is actually the release of the ACTH hormone. Now, ACTH hormone is actually the hormone responsible for controlling the growth and development. I'm sorry, not growth and development, but release of the hormones from the adrenal cortex. So, adrenal gland is actually a gland present in our above our kidney, means it's actually like a cap on top of the kidney, and is responsible for production of adrenaline hormone, which is our body's emergency hormone to fight or flight the situation, whatever dangerous situation whatever the body has faced. But this particular hormone, this particular gland is also capable of producing other hormones from its cortex region. So this hormone, this one of those important hormone, is actually the cortisols, the androgens, all these different type of hormones that the adrenal gland they produce. They have various kind of functions in our body, even the development of secondary sexual characters in the body. So those character like developing hormones, if it is not being produced properly, then body will not show like proper form, like development and formation, you can say. And it is completely under the sake of ACTH hormone, which will be released by the anterior pituitary. So anterior pituitary, if this ACTH is not produced, adrenal cortex is not going to release all those necessary developing hormones. Another example will be the release of the FSH hormone or the release of the luteinizing hormone. So FSH, or the follicle stimulating hormone, is responsible for inducing those cells that are responsible for formation of the gametes. So it actually induces the formation of the follicle cells, which are ultimately going to transform into the gamete. So it is like directly responsible for gametogenesis or the gamete development. At the same time, the luteinizing hormone is responsible for controlling the secretion of the Leydig cells, or the cells which are present in the testes of a male, which is responsible for production of the testosterone hormone. So this hormone is responsible for production of testosterone hormone, again the one responsible for producing masculinity to to that particular individual. Same thing is released in the case of female also, but in case of female, its working is slightly different. Where it actually is like the FSH and LH being secreted in two different fashion, and like at two different point of time, and that actually leads to development of the follicle in the ovary, definitely. But that will also trigger the release of this two hormone, because during the process of the development of an ovum inside the ovary is during which we find that the release of these two particular type of hormones, the estrogen and the progesterone, it actually takes place, and they are actually controlled by the release of the hormone of from this anterior pituitary called the FSH and the LH. And when these two hormones, the estrogen and progesterones, are being produced, that is responsible, like the estrogen is responsible for giving feminine characteristics to some extent. um, the progesterone, on the other hand, is actually one responsible for maintaining pregnancy. So these two hormones are quite important for the life of a female or reproductively active female, and this LH and the FSH hormone is responsible for the release of those two. So it is necessary, definitely. Now coming to the posterior lobe, The posterior lobe actually responsible for these two hormone only, oxytocin and vasopressin, of which oxytocin is sometimes being hailed as the love hormone, because it has been found that person who is like the the feature of love is somehow has been noticed that oxytocin level is comparatively high in those cases. It induces that feeling of affection and all. So majorly, like oxytocin, it actually works in different part of the body with different types of cells: liver, adipose, kidney, like intestine, many places. It actually helps in many metabolic processes and many things. Along with it, it also is somewhat responsible for the milk ejection, because it has been noticed the level of oxytocin is high when a lady has gone labor and have like formed a baby. From that particular point, or actually the when she's in the gestation period, late gestation period, she actually will be seen that will have high quantity, like high concentration of oxytocin. Somewhat uh, due to this, it has been also like guessed, you can say, or hypothesis is also there, that the female always become a little protective of themselves at the time of pregnancy. It's also triggered by this particular hormone, because the sense of security is increased because she's rearing a child inside her womb, and this hormone actually creates the sense of security so that the child is not harmed. That's why you always see the maternal instinct in every single animal, and it's all controlled by this hormone. Next, this also is responsible for helping in the passage of the baby during the like smooth muscles or the uterus. They are their contraction and everything are actually what is actually controlled by this, because this is the hormone which ultimately helps in the process of labor. So this hormone is quite necessary for like the life of a female. On the other hand, there is the vasopressin is actually the one responsible for controlling the function of the kidney, because vasopressin, it actually helps in fluid reabsorption in the kidney, which is necessary for the like formation of urine, definitely. And at the same time, this is also responsible for vasoconstriction, which increases the blood pressure. So it is regulating the blood pressure, plus it is regulating the rate of reabsorption in the kidney. So it is like it's working in a dual way, but both of them are somehow responsible for function of the kidney itself. So this increased arterial pressure that it actually creates, or increase in the blood pressure, it is necessary in many conditions, even like in emergency state. For instance, a person who has gone through some sort of like trauma or something, uh, and is actually have somehow is like having lower blood pressure in the body due to loss of body fluid and all. So increasing the blood pressure can actually help in maintaining the sustainability of the person, because that way that blood vessel is actually going to like help in proper absorption of the material throughout the blood. That is somewhat necessary. Whereas it also is responsible for mostly the normal processes, but for the fluid absorption in the kidney. So that will be all about the different secretions of hormone by the pituitary and its function.